Coastal Championship Wrestling, unbelievable. They've been indie group running in Florida for 20 years, 20 plus years, right around 20. I mean, it's incredible what they're doing, what they have been doing, the talent that's come there. Now they're running up and down Florida. Also, they branched out Tennessee, CCW. They started with Bruno Sassy, Dan Evans, Blackheart Dave Johnson, and many others running the organization on the shows. And now, four and a half years ago, so right around there, Nelio has taken over. Dan Evans is still there. He's with them as well. You got Gangrel, WWE alum, with them and all. They got a training center doing great things. There's some people right now from there that are doing great things. And CCW, you talk about Florida, the United States, and North America. And CCW is one of the longest running. They're the longest running in Florida for sure. And one of the longest running in North America indie groups. That's incredible in itself. And it's just an amazing thing. And now they're going to be doing big things in South Florida with the NWA. This is going to be so cool. You have the NWA champ, EC3, that's going to be coming Thursday, January 11th, to the CCW training facility in South Florida, Pompano. And he's going to be doing a clinic and seminar there. That's going to be so cool. Then CCW has its once-a-month show in Kissimmee on Friday, January 12th. And EC3 will be defending that NWA belt on that CCW show against Cha-Cha Charlie. It's an all-time favorite. Fans love him no matter where he goes. And then the big, I call it the main events, will be on Saturday, January 13th at Revolution Live right here in Fort Lauderdale, where you're going to have Paranoia, NWA, 7 p.m. You're going to have their TV tapings for the CW Network. That's right, it's CW Network. So cool. And it's going to get more eyes on the product. And they're going to get more eyes on others, including CCW, because CCW right after, probably around 9:30, they're going to be doing CCW versus the NWA right there at Revolution Live. It's going to be a huge event. So many good things going on. And then Sunday, the NWA will be in Tampa to do some other TV tapings as well on January 14th. And Nelio, who's been really just unbelievable what you've been able to grow with CCW the last 4.5 years where you've taken it. You got to tell us about this NWA event, all this stuff coming up. Big event, big weekend in South Florida.
Man, that is that is the best intros that I've heard about this whole week, about this whole month, about CCW in general. Jim, you have been a huge part of the last 4.5 years for me in helping us grow to where we've gotten. And Matt, it's when you put it all together like that, it really is. It's making me a little anxious, but it's also really exciting because it's just been an incredible ride.
Tell us about the seminar now. Thursday, January 11th, they're going to be at the CCW Training Center in Pompano Beach. Tell us who can go, and also you'll have obviously some CCW talent there, but NWA champ EC3 will be there to do this, and he might have a surprise with him as well.
Yeah, there'll be some surprises. It is an official talent assessment for the National Wrestling Alliance. They don't do many of those. So that is January 11th, 6 p.m. at the CCW training facility. EC3 will be leading the charge, but you'll have some special guests. That's open to anyone who's serious about either getting into professional wrestling or currently trained professional wrestling. So if you're listening to this and you want to be maybe a manager or a pro wrestler or a referee, you're absolutely you're free to sign up. There is a charge to sign up, but you're welcome to come. But for the most part, it's going to be an assessment for some of our wrestlers, some of our students here at the CCW training facility who are doing an incredible job. By the way, Gangrel gets these guys going. Is an incredible trainer. As you mentioned before, so many of our guys have gone to the next level, WWE, AEW, and so forth, NWA. But it's going to be an awesome night. EC3 is an incredible guy. Obviously, the NWA heavyweight champion, which is one of the most meaningful belts. To me, it's probably the second most meaningful belt, the WWE title, but it's one of the most meaningful belts and one of the most meaningful champions. He's got a lot to say. He's been everywhere. He's been in TNA. He's been in WWE, and now as the NWA champion, he has a lot to teach. But also, he's part of the committee that gets people hired. So there's going to be some office people here from the NWA, and you can kind of get an inside view on what their business is like and what they're trying to do going forward.
And we're going to talk about CCW and the shows coming up that weekend as well. It's going to be a big event, big time, fun time, a lot of good stuff. Nelio, tell us about the CCW talent. Now, I'm going to say this first. Two in particular that are now with WWE. Valerie Loureda, who's the breakout winner for the women's division of NXT, who is Lola Vice, did training at your facility. And then Blake Chadwick, who is now hosting NXT Level Up with Byron Saxton and is also hosting NXT shows on the Florida Citrus Circuit, Coconut Loop. That's a CCW guy there. He's done so much. Tell us about those two, and then we'll talk about CCW talent that you have now that's just unbelievable.
Man, Jim, it's really perfect that you mentioned those two because it's like a tale of two personalities, a tale of two wrestlers. Valerie, it was from the second that I saw her, she was already a star. She had wrestled at Bellator, and she was just an incredible, charismatic person. Like something special about her is the second that you talk to her, she has like a childlike ability to like cut through a lot of the BS. And she was an MMA fighter, and she was a black belt in martial arts, and she was incredible. She has an incredible look. And from the first day, watching her first bumps and locking up and all that type of stuff, it was incredible to see like she came in a professional athlete. She was upset when she would make small mistakes. So we knew, Gangrel and myself, from watching her progress, we knew that she was going to be special. And then it took two different meetings with the WWE, and they wanted her right away. She was just a blue chip prospect, and she's done it all. She's about to become a big star. So that was incredible. And then on Blake, it's the grind. So Blake is an overnight success. He's been doing this for 16 years. He was, when I met Blake, he was great. He was ready for television when I met him, but it has to be at the right time, whether it's the right time for the company, the right time for NXT, or the right time for WWE, and then the right time for him. He was ready. He's been ready. And for Blake Chadwick, I think it's inevitable that he'll be the lead commentator on Monday nights one day, and one day he'll do WrestleMania. And we're just lucky to have had an incredible talent here in South Florida. And what he credits us with is the amount of shows that we do and their television production here. He was able to call hundreds and hundreds of matches on television and fine tune himself before he got his final call up into NXT. But speaking of Blake, he was at Ecoasties with us last week. What I love about Blake is he understands it's just beginning. Just that once you get to the WWE, it's just beginning. It is cutthroat. And talking to Valerie too, I think she's had a different experience than Blake. I think Blake's future is obviously in commentary. I think Blake is an excellent office person. He was office here at CCW, and I think he could be the head of talent relations, or he could be the head commentator. He could be anything. But Valerie had a completely different experience where I think that they are fast tracking her to the main stage a lot quicker.
And now we talk about CC.
Great, and both, by the way. I don't know if you picked them both. If you picked both of them on purpose, but both of them constantly. I don't know if you're even allowed to, but they're still come and hang out sometimes at the training facility. They are always willing to help here, and they are always having positive things to say about CCW. They're still an active force in CCW. So, I love that when men and women get to the next level, they still remember their roots.
That's cool to hear too, because that means a lot. It does mean a lot and all, where you've come from and to help out and help others. And the current CCW roster, and some of them, Jackal and Cha-Cha Charlie and Chris Farrow, I think this kid has got some potential there. Don't tell him I said that. I know I'm getting a big head. But just tell us about some of the and the Crown. Oh my gosh, that is a tag team. Once they fine tune themselves, come on, just their look alone is money. And they're going to be. You could see some of these during Kissimmee, CCW and Kissimmee on Friday, January 12th, and I'm hoping Revolution Live as well on January 13th in Fort Lauderdale. But tell us about them and some of the other great talent there.
Matt, you hit it on the head. I think Chris Farrow is a future star as well. He's got that instant charisma. Again, it's really cool for me to see someone come in the first day. I remember when he signed up. I remember how immature Chris was. And he's matured over his time here, at CCW. But that charisma was there on day one. So some of those guys you can just see when they walk in the door. NWA versus CCW show, Viva Revolution, on the 12th. And obviously, Jackal, he's the champion. Jackal is that. I'm from Chicago, Jim, and if you couldn't tell by my accent, but I'm from Chicago, and I like that workman attitude. Like, Jackal shows up to work every single day. Last year he had a blood clot that was threatening his life. I was freaking out when I found out. He wouldn't let us go to the hospital. he was suffering by himself, and then when he was finally cleared, he was just back to business right away. And I had gained a lot of respect over that type of tribulation, where someone was looking at potentially the end of their life and the end of their career in professional wrestling, and he persevered. And if you look at him in the ring, he absolutely, I would put him up against anyone. I'd put him up against Adam Cole, who he looks exactly like. But I'd put him against anyone on top-level programming in terms of how exciting he is and how much sympathy he can get from audiences. So I think Jackal, is he a future star? I think he's already a star. And you talk about the crown. In a way, I'm hiding the crown. I'm a little worried that NWA is going to see the crown on Saturday. I know they've seen him, but I'm afraid that the next level, the top level companies are going to see them, see what I see, and I think what the crowd see. I love the crown because they're the type of talent that you can take to a brand new audience. Like, I can do a new show in Chattanooga, Tennessee, or I can do a new show in North Carolina, and I know that if I have the crown on the third match, they're going to get an immediate reaction when they come through that curtain with their masks and their physiques. And I think it's a little bit of that magic that is my job, that magic to make them, give them stories and make them who they are to their look and to their ability. And you're right, they need some fine-tuning, but I think they're already there. I think they're already getting there. And then you mentioned Cha-Cha Charlie earlier. Cha-Cha Charlie is, we call him the franchise, but it's a guy who can absolutely transcend an audience, little kids, single mothers. There's a lot of people who just love Cha-Cha Charlie, and he's out there, he's dancing, he's having a good time. But when it's time to fight, he brings it. He has a long-standing feud with Top Dollar, AJ Francis, where Francis left him bloody and battered, and then left to the WWE to avoid wrestling Cha-Cha. Well, now that Top Dollar is back, we have that big match January 6th, Bash at the Brew, and there's no better flag bearer for CCW on a top feud like that than Cha-Cha Charlie. So, you're looking at talent that are they independent talent? Are they, are they not WWE talent, or however you want to, frame them? Here's the thing with that. He's wrestling. Cha-Cha Charlie's wrestling 6 times a month in front of large crowds. So guys like Jackal, guys like Cha-Cha Charlie, with the amount of shows that we do, are getting more experience than guys who are in, Impact, who are in MLW, or in WWE. So we're in a situation where these guys are at that level. It's just that maybe they don't have a television look. And by the way, Cha-Cha, Crown, Jackal, all of them could be on television. There's nothing there's nothing less than. But I think, and Chris Barrow should be. I think Chris Barrow's a future star. But watching them wrestle and watching the guys that we have together, Ariel Levy, even Ozzy Killmeister. Ozzy Killmeister has come so far in the last 2 years from the talent he was to the talent he is. You see that type of growth, and I think one of the things is, as our local audiences, our monthly audiences in Miami, our monthly audiences in Kissimmee, and in Fort Lauderdale, etc. I think one of the things is they've seen that growth, so they care more about Ozzy Killmeister than they do about Austin Theory or Bobby Lashley, or guys who are obviously have a widespread audience, but these are our guys. These are our local guys, and it comes back to what the old wrestling territory felt like. And so we call ourselves the last territory because we can build a local hometown audience, and we just so happen to be able to do that throughout the entire state of Florida. So, with that type of talent and more, I don't want to even start naming a bunch of talent because I'm going to not say one and they're going to be upset, or, I'm going to miss one. I don't want to rate, but with that type of talent, spattered in with guys like Gangrel, guys like Martin Stone, and now QT Marshall, who's basically full-time with us. I think he's locked in on the next 11 shows that we have, until I'm sure he's going to end up going to WWE. But he's with us here, so you have that type of top talent put in with young talent, put in with even younger talent. I mean, it's a perfect place to go and watch professional wrestling in the state of Florida. And I wish that every state developed this. You know, I'm sure the NWA wishes that every state will have their own territory as well. But I think we've done the best that we can, especially in the last 4.5 years, to develop that.
NWA likes to work with indie groups, but they want to work with good indie groups, and you're working with them with CCW. That just says right there, makes one statement, and it's just interesting, all the talent that's there, and you're right, it's hard to mention everybody. Ruthie J was part of the NWA.
Signed at the NBA.
CCW, you had KiLynn King, who's been with CCW, and she's doing big things now. It's amazing, and I mean, you mentioned Ariel Levy. I just think great on Mike. What a great when he's a heel, unbelievable. It's just so believable. It's so cool when he's out there doing his thing. Jackal, I'm telling you, that guy could work anywhere. It's amazing, and his confidence. He gets that confidence. Now he's the champ. He gets that confidence going and that belief in himself, and he could do bigger things. I'm telling you, he is confident, but he could do bigger things, and I think he can. And Cha-Cha, anywhere he goes, the crowds love him. It's just amazing what he can do there. And I'll tell you, you mentioned Ozzy. I seen Ozzy grow. What a great talent there and all. And the crowd gets into him. And Meta's another one. I'm like, oh my God, guy's got a good look like the Crown. And this guy's improved in such a short period of time. He's another one we could see great things from CCW.
I'm putting out in the universe. Ariel Levy has worked at AEW for the last 9 months or so. That'll continue, and there's potentially some news coming up with Ariel and that. But I believe that within the next 3 or 4 months, Meadow needs to be signed to All Elite Wrestling or WWE because this is look and what he has. See, I looked over one of the next up guy. I think Meadow's next up, Jim, because just his look and his potential.
And he's international. Don't forget that, especially when they're going all these international tours as well, the bigger companies, that says something for it as well.
Meadow's story, too, coming from Bulgaria, coming from a small town in Bulgaria, finding his way to the United States, finding his way to legal status, just doing everything that he possibly could, working on himself. He, at the beginning of his training, he suffered an injury, didn't know what was gone, ended up being a brain injury. He was in the hospital. It was everything that could go wrong for an aspiring professional wrestler who worked so hard to come from Bulgaria to South Florida to try to make it. And then he ends up in a hospital with his brain bleeding. And he's gotten through it all. And I think it's fate. It's destiny. He put the work in, but some guys are just destined for it. And when you look at him, he looks like he belongs on Monday nights or on Friday nights. So I think that I love being that guy to, even in a small way, facilitate a guy like Meadow. But it's almost good that these guys are going to go to the next level because then it's time for someone else to step up and take their place. You know, I think one of the best things about ECW was that guys would leave, and then when Public Enemy left, the Dudleys stepped up. When someone else left, Taz stepped up. When someone else left, when RVD left, Tommy Dreamer stepped up. Then Rhino, and so it's always ready. We're always ready with the next guy. Chris Barrows might be the next guy, or whomever is the next guy. But I love the fact that you are going to see some of these guys wrestle for the NWA in the future, and AEW, and MLW, and a lot of them in TIA. We had KiLynn King, like you mentioned, Jay Vidal, like you mentioned, in the NWA. Obviously, you have Ruthie J, who's just crushing it. You're going to see a huge CCW impact on that NWA show in a few different ways, on the Paranoia show. That we'll talk about in a second.
It's cool, and what I like too, Nelio, about what you all have done, and it's just, I think it needs to be done. I really do. If you get talent and take them to another level, and they're able to do bigger shows and travel, it's not like, okay, you can only do CCW shows. Oh, you're with us. That's it. You can't do other shows or whatever. I like the fact that CCW works with the NWA, works with other groups, works with QT Marshall when he was with AEW, and now he's there with you guys. But to do things like that, I think, is so important for the building of those wrestlers. I understand you have to build CCW, but I think it's important to build for those wrestlers to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because when Blake, for instance, on their Christmas party, when Blake is there, when Jay Vidal is there, and they're talking about, when Blake is here telling me about the day-to-day that's going on and his experiences, man, that helps me, but that also helps, we have a couple young commentators, Axel Rome, Tyler Cashmere, like, it helps for those guys to listen to someone who did it and is in the WWE and, to be able to talk to them and say, what does the WWE want? What are the notes that they're looking for? It's stuff like that is just absolutely 100% like necessary whether part of a training facility or an indie company, because of course, like I said, it's better. Like I want Jackal, and I'm happy that Ariel is going to the next level. I'm happy that Meadow will be at the next level. I'm ecstatic about Jay Vidal, but I'm also ecstatic that they can come back and they can give back and that they can help. And Dave is a huge part of that too, because Dave pushes humbleness. Like Dave is a humble guy. Like Dave has been a star. He's wrestled all over the world, Japan, Puerto Rico. I mean, he's a future WWE Hall of Famer. I think Edge kind of screwed him by going to AEW because he's not going to have that Hall of Fame for a little bit longer. I'm like, sorry, Dave, you're going to have to wait another 5 years for that Hall of Fame induction with the Brood. But he's a future Hall of Famer, and he should go in as a single, by the way, I think. But he pushes the fact that it's humbleness. Like, if you talk to Dave, like, it's just like your friend. I've had him and Susan over for Christmas and with my family, and he doesn't act like the star. And I hope he doesn't hear this, but he really is a big star. And I think if you're KiLynn, if you're Jay Vidal, if you're Jake Tucker, if you're
Jake Tucker, another one, right? Jake Tucker, Marina. Wow, yeah, two more.
Pirelli, Marina, who's the WoW champion. If you're KiLynn, if you're obviously Blake, if you're Valerie Loureda, if you're any of those people, you know that no matter what, you're going to stay humble, and I think that'll help them in the long run as well. And Dave talks a lot of times about the mistakes that he made at the WWE. Like he talks about the mistakes he made along the way, when he was younger. So he's so open and willing to teach that to the students and myself. Like I've learned so much from David Heath. So I think it's really important. That type of atmosphere that we have here, and that type of group that we have here, and I tell people who walk in, because we've got a huge influx of new students, Jim, because they see if I go there, I can whatever, I can talk to QT Marshall, or I can talk to Dave, or I can go to AEW, or now people are signed up because they want to be eventually go to the NWA. But the thing is like you can come in and it's like you're going to have to work your butt off. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a Blake Chadwick grinding for 16 years. Or, KiLynn, like I remember KiLynn had bad gear and, she was skinny and stuff.
The bad gear. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about the bad gear. That's what gets me, Nelio. And I'm not that's just her. If somebody's Nelio, come on. I don't care if it's day one, day two. If you're coming in, and I'm not saying she did this, but don't come in with a t-shirt and sweatpants, please. If you're having your first match, don't do that. I'm not saying KiLynn did that, but I've seen it. Nelio. What are you doing? Even if you can't work, at least look good.
At least look good. Trust me, I know that, Jim. Don't worry. I did that one. No, but you can see like the improvement, and yeah, it's also the journey is the jewel. Like, people who come in from day one, there's a lot of people who come in, and of course, like, there's a high dropout rate for professional wrestling across the board. It's not easy, but, people are enjoying the journey, and I am, and the team is, and the school is, and the guys are. If they really are enjoying that journey, then they will make it, and they really love it. And you know what? There are plenty of people who enjoyed a 20-year journey who never made it, but they still enjoyed the journey. So I think we're in a position where, like, you have that opportunity here at CCW, and it's very unique, very unique. And we're also in a great place. Like South Florida is an incredible recruiting base. So many athletes now in South Florida. So many young athletes coming to the school. Guys in their 20s and stuff. So I'm excited about the future of not just CCW, but the future of the guys that are training here.
And you mentioned Gangrel. Gangrel still's going these days. He's working. He's wrestling. And still a great job he does. And it's just unbelievable what he's doing and all. And I'm curious because we're going to go to the Kiss Me show, but we're really going to go to Revolution Live for the big event Saturday, January 13th. CCW versus the NWA in Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be great. Paranoia right before it. You got the NWA champ EC3 going against Matt Cardona. That's incredible. Both those guys, tremendous talents. But before that, Friday, January 12th in Kissimmee, it's CCW Shine. Every month you run in Kissimmee. Lou and the group has done a great job from the start of that to build it up, and you got it to where it is now, CCW doing its thing. And you got EC3 defending the NWA belt that night against Cha-Cha Charlie. Nelio, here's my question. Got to get the tough questions there, so I got to give you one. So has Dory Funk Jr. or Kevin Sullivan or Jerry Briscoe or all of them talking to Cha-Cha Charlie, giving him some pointers here to try to get that NWA belt?
100%. It's crazy. That belt is like I feel like Smeagol in the Lord of the Rings. Yes. Sullivan, obviously Sullivan is a huge part of CCW too. I can't believe we haven't mentioned yet. Fonzie, they're all going to be pulling for Cha-Cha Charlie. Oh, CCW is going to be pulling for Cha-Cha Charlie. EC3 is a great competitor and a great guy. But can you imagine if he brings that gold home, brings the title to where it belongs? You know, Florida is the greatest, like, wrestling territory. Championship Wrestling in Florida, Gordon Soley, Dusty Rhodes, Kevin Sullivan, all of them, okay? This is where the belt deserves to be. EC3 is a Midwest guy, and he might live in Orlando, but he's not a Florida guy. And Cha-Cha Charlie is Florida. Cha-Cha Charlie is Florida. Is CCW, is the new territory, the last territory. So that's going to be a huge match. And I think EC3 is going to be a little surprised because he's going to walk into Kissimmee, and you're going to have a little bit of the CM Punk John Cena situation where that entire crowd, I have a feeling, that entire crowd is firmly going to be behind Cha-Cha Charlie on Friday in Kissimmee.
That's gonna
I don't know if EC3 is ready for it.
And if Cha-Cha Charlie wins the title, he'll be facing Matt Cardona at NWA Paranoia. EC3 might be paranoid just having to think about that next night on Saturday, January 13th at Revolution Live in Fort Lauderdale. But even so...
All I'm going to say, Amy Veronica in the parking lot with a car that's already running.
There you go.
That's like the riot.
Referee Hebner is Amy Veronica. That's a good one. I like that line. Oh, man. Hey, she does an incredible job, too. Your referees do very well as well. Got so much talent there at CCW. It's just great and all. But, hey, all right. So now Saturday, January 13th, NWA Paranoia, followed by NWA versus CCW, Revolution Live. Just tell us a little more about that. What can you fill us in on with that?
We have truly an incredible team CCW. So I had a problem. I needed to name a team captain. Was it going to be Cha-Cha Charlie, or was it going to be Ariel Levy? Both of them equally qualified to be team captain of Team CCW. And because I felt that they both brought different things to the table, I decided to throw a little curveball. Martin Stone, formerly Danny Burch in the WWE, he's a great wrestler, a calming figure, and I made him the captain of the team. Cha-Cha Charlie, not very happy about it. Ariel Levy, not very happy about it. And they really weren't happy when Martin named Ozzy Killmeister the fourth member of the team. So I might have made a mistake because I picked Martin, I picked Cha-Cha and Ariel. I said, let's go forward with the best team. And I'm a little worried because they're not getting along before the big match. So we're going to see if they're going to be able to coexist, because I know that Billy Corgan is going to be putting together a very strong team. I don't know the competitors yet for Team NWA, but I know that it's going to be a very strong team. And it means a lot to me. There's two things. I'll say this open and honestly. Like, I love the NWA. I'd love to co-promote. I'd love to collaborate. Anytime that I've spoken to Billy, anytime that I've spoken with the office at the NWA has been incredible. They are incredible guys. But I am a very competitive person. I want to be the best show of the night. I want to put together an incredible show. The fans are going to lose their minds. I want our show overshadow their show. Both shows are going to be good, guys, but I want our show to be incredible, and I want our guys to really show something. So I may have made a little bit of a mistake to have a little bit of an issue going into that NWA versus CCW match. But you also have QT Marshall versus Carson Drake, a new signee of the NWA. You have the 7-foot monster Jack Talos, who's he signed to the NWA, but he's a CCW guy too. I was his first match when he left NXT. He is incredible, and he is one. I mean, he grew up in Oklahoma, but he's a homegrown talent too, who's on the next level. But he'll be wrestling Gangrel, so the 7-foot monster versus the 6'3" monster in Gangrel, a legend. And then in the main event, you have Kerry Morton. I love the Rock and Roll Express. I love Kerry himself. Kerry had a very, very good match against Ariel Levy for the CCW Heavyweight Championship. Ended in a disqualification, but if you watch that match, Kerry Morton was an inch, a centimeter away of leaving as a CCW Heavyweight Champion. And we were trying to put that match together for Ariel Levy and Kerry Morton, the rematch, but Jackal beat Ariel before we could make it happen. So what a better stage to give Kerry Morton his due. You know, the son of Ricky Morton, the son of the Rock and Roll Express, the future of professional wrestling. 23 years old, great look, great mind, and he's going for the CCW heavyweight title against Jackal Stevens. And here's the thing: if Kerry Morton defeats Jackal Stevens, Kerry Morton's a CCW guy too. He's wrestled 6, 7, 8 matches.
That's right.
There's nothing stopping Kerry from getting down here. Driving down here from East Tennessee and defending that strap 2 or 3 times a month. So I'm excited to see how that ends up. That is a match that is very much on my radar as well. I'm really excited about. But on top of that, you have Crown versus the Spectaculars 2.0. Again, I'm hiding the Crown because I don't want the rest of the world to see how because they're a major part of the show. But they'll be putting the CCW heavyweight title on the line against the Spectaculars 2.0. And then Murdoch, Trevor Murdoch, who I love, and Mike Knox are going to be wrestling Brock and Anderson, Brian Brock and Andrew Anderson as well. So it's a stacked card. It's a really, really stacked card. And then Ruthie J versus Kylie Page for the CCW Heavyweight Championship. And there's some exciting things happening. I have some tricks up my sleeve, Jim, for that weekend. But I am anxiously awaiting what I believe to be an incredible weekend. It's also, there's an aspect of it too that I'm interested because, Jim, when you come to a CCW show and you're around, it's weird to have 2 companies working together. It's 2 bosses, 2 who's in charge. This guy's in charge, this guy's in charge, and I have nervous energy, positive nervous energy over the weekend in general, And it's funny because in reality, it's a couple. I'm from Chicago. Billy Corgan's from Glen Ellen, which is close to Chicago. It's a couple of Chicago guys running a show in South Florida on January 13th, so I'm excited for it.
All right, so then that begs the question then. So are you taking Billy out for deep dish pizza? Is there anywhere down here for it? What's going on?
Billy is a vegetarian, but I have to find some vegetarian lumalmatis. But I am a Giordano sausage patty guy, so I don't think I could eat a full Giordano sausage patty deep dish pizza in front of Billy. That might offend him. But I have some tavern style with green peppers and olives. I'm in. The real Chicago pizza is thin crust Chicago pizza.
That's amazing. Because I was going to say, are you going to go take him down to Hollywood to Flicker Light?
Yes, I do. yes. But I think he still lives in North Chicago, so I don't think I'm gonna take him out to. I'm gonna go have a grouper sandwich in Hollywood, or what is the best South Florida thing to take a guy? Is it really?
Oh, come on. But it's too far. Joe Stone Crab.
Oh, Joe's, yeah.
Yeah, down in Miami, but up here, what do you want? Morton's Steakhouse, maybe? I don't know.
No. You're right. It's Joe's. You're coming with us, Jim.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. So you got that CCW versus NWA. You said about making Martin Stone the captain. Now, you know how Ariel and Cha-Cha, they like to lead. But I'll say this. Here's how you mess with Billy's mind for this thing and all. Don't tell him. When the group comes out for CCW, play one of the Smashing Pumpkins songs. That's your entrance music.
I love it. It's funny you say that. When I was a kid, I don't want to say how young I was. But
Hey, and for Gangrel, the world is a vampire. That's perfect.
Lola Butterfly wing. Yes, that is perfect. He's coming out to that. That's done. Consider it done. I think we can get the rights to that.
Yeah, right.
I'm the man.
You got the guy right there that can give you the rights, I hope.
I demand we get the rights in perpetuity. Butterfly. No, and I was actually just listening to Siamese Dream, which came out in '95, which I was 8 years old. It was my favorite album. So it's really full circle, like now to do this show, and like it's cool because like I love pro wrestling, but I do love Smashing Pumpkins, and I'm really excited about this whole thing. So yes, I think all of our entrances will be different Smashing Pumpkins era songs. You can count on that.
Nelio Cuomo Costa, that's the way to do it. Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Nelly, always appreciate the time. Love what you guys are doing with CCW and all the talent there.
I want to cut you off. You are one of the reasons. April 19th, it's 20 years, Jim, of CCW. Thank you to Dan Ackerman. Thank you to the Blackheart Dave Johnson, Bruno Sassi, Big Tilly, MVP, all the guys like who were the pioneers in the beginning. The Serious Slasher still shows up to Kissimmee shows. He's got one match in him. He looks great. The old man, guys like who's passed, obviously Dave Johnson, but like Ram Man, all of the old guard. I have to thank them for these last 20 years. I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done in the last 4.5 years without them and without Dan and without Gangrel. So, but without guys like you, Jim, like you have been, like I said, from day one, you were always a good person to bend my ear. No, bend your ear, right? To bend your ear, and I appreciate everything that you do for us.
Oh, thank you very much.
But I want to know how you always get the first question on the WWE calls.
Not always. It used to be Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson from PWI. I like Mike. I know Mike.
I love Mike too.
Mike usually is the first one. Once in a while I get lucky. I have no idea. There's no payola going on. I'm telling you that right now. Who knows how?
Every time, because it was whenever Tony Khan has a media call, your first 2 or 3. WWE, you're always, let's go to Jim Barcelona in Florida. So
yeah, I'll tell you what, Nelio, it's something about those conference calls because you only allow one question. So I've got like 5 or 6 written because I figure somebody else might ask these questions. But I'll tell you what, when you get the first, when you're the one getting the first question, you got to try to bring it strong. You got to bring it strong because if CM Punk's doing something or this one's under investigation or someone's injured and all, you got to bring the strong question and all. I like to have more fun though. I'd rather have the fun questions than the newsy strong questions. But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, no, but I think it's a testament to how long you've been doing this and how well you do this. So I just want to thank you for all of this.
Thank you for the good words. And I'm going to close it with this because this is what, Nelio, if there's one thing, I never ask for anything. I don't know. But I just got to ask this. I won't ask, say, oh, you got to do this or can you do. But here's my thing. You've got, if down the road, you might be working, EC3 has Exodus Pro Wrestling in Cleveland. He's starting a thing there and training. That's great. If you're down the road, you're working with them, CCW, that's cool. Or maybe down the road, if you're working with MLW, that's the one I want to get to. Tag team. The Giant Killers. Ariel Dominguez and Microman.
I love it.
Please, even just one match. Make it happen. I'll go.
Got it. No, you got it. Consider it done. I love it.
All right, Nelio, thank you so much. Thanks for your hospitality, always your business for when I'm out there and all. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate you. The people at home, ccwrestlingfl.com. You can sign up for that seminar Friday the 11th by the Kissimmee show, and then there's a link, $20 ticket, NWA versus CCW Revolution, January 13th. Let's make it a celebration of professional wrestling in South Florida, baby. Thank you, Jim.